Councillor. I hope everybody enjoyed the tea break and that you had some coffee. We are now starting our council meeting for October 27. We have had the pastor opening the council meeting. We have our attendance register circulating.
Sorry, Madam Speaker, just on the point of the attendance register, Councillor Furness has an urgent matter that came up and he asked to be excused, please.
I shall know, thank you very much. We then have leave of absence application, and Municipality, you can just ask Councillor Furness for the submitted form that we have it on record, but we did note the apology by Councillor Furness. We are then at number 4 on the agenda. The disclosure of interest in terms of Schedule 1 of Code of Conduct for Councillors in terms of the Local Government Municipal Systems Act. Is there any councillor who wishes to discuss anything at this point? Councillor, thank you very much. I shall note within at Roman 5, the disclosure of benefits in terms of Schedule 2, Section 5 of the Code of Conduct for Officials of the Local Government Municipal Systems Act. Municipal managers, there any interest that need to be declared here?
Yes, Speaker, I can mention that under E251, which deals with the performance evaluation bonus for directors and women, the MM and the permanent directors will excuse them, as well as CFO. And then there's another item, Speaker, under CG1, right, that deals with acting allowance for directors when they act in the MM place. Myself, Director Nell, Director Naidu, and Director Pinter will excuse ourselves. The CFO can stay inside because he can never act in the post of the municipal bank. Thanks, Speaker.
Thank you very much. We then have at Roman 5 the disclosure of benefits of our officials, and we note what the municipal manager has communicated. We are then at Roman 6 of our agenda, the confirmation and signing of the previous council minutes. ANC has just joined the council meeting. We are also streaming, and we have is doing our interpretation online. Can I have a proposal for the minutes of the open council meeting held on the 29th of September 2022?
Councillor Van Dijk will propose. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dijk. Do we have a seconder?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll gladly second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Delamain. Is there any corrections or point of discussions from the minutes arising from the 29th of September? I see no indication. Thank you very much, councillors. We are then at Roman 7 of our agenda. Cognizance of the executive mayors and deputy executive mayors resolutions in terms of delegated authority as provided for in section 591 of the Act on Local Government Municipal System. 1000, and we have items number FC 63 to FC 68, item number C41 to C44, item numbers CS42 to CS46, item numbers P124 to P137, item numbers T46 to T53, item number CG53 to CG56, and then UB55 to UB63. Can I have a proposal in this regard?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I propose.
Thank you very much, Councillor Delamain. Do you have a seconder?
Yes, you do, Madam Speaker. Councillor Van Dijk.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dijk. Anything from the items that any councillor would like clarity on? Councillor Matusidi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. FC 66 day. Hana ndathetha ngezinto ezenzekayo kulwazi.
Just a minute, thank you very much. We have Councillor Matusidi on FC 66.
Page 48. Ayana ndandithethe ngemali yaseward 3 ethathweyo yayosebenza eStubenberg e-Anna 600,000. Instead uba ilungiswe loo nto, into enziweyo kwengezwe imali kulaa project yaba yi-1,080,772. Ingabe le ndlela yokuthathwa kwemali ibizwe ngenye iwadi isemthethweni na? Wathi umaneja unazo u-MM uzandiphendula apha, but azange atandiphendula. Kunemali nangoku ezisebenza 4,305,000 ezisebenza eVolbardans kodwa zibizwa ngezimali zewadi, Ward 3 naseGreen Haven. Kwenzeka ntoni kakuhle? Ndicela ubuza ke apha kuwe, Madam Speaker. Olu lahlekiso benzelwayo because abantu bajonga uba iwadi nemali but ii-project zenziwa kwenye indawo. Enkosi, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Councillor Matusini is then asking in terms of FCC. Clarity with reference to an amount being indicated. Municipal Manager, can I to the CFO?
Speaker, I'm gonna ask the CFO if he understood the question at this stage, or the items that was mentioned and so on. If not, maybe we can just, if you can give us some time, Chairperson, just to follow up on. I cannot recall it 100% at this stage. I'll make contact with Councillor Matisini so that we can get the gist of the question that they are before me and the Councillor could have spoken.
Thank you, Amen. Councillor.
I've got a question ezininzi. Ayikho kuphela kwale. Now you're page 66. Kunemali okwenziwe ngayo i-solar sport but zezewadi. Le nto ndiyithetha isibili andiqali ngokufanele uba kudala yena. Ngawujonga nakwiiminitsi ezi zinto azithethwa ngendlela engabe sizibeka ngayo. Aziveli njengoba zingaveli nangoku, azivelanga kwezi minutes ezi zinto ndandizixelele ngaphambili. Kuba kunemali yewadi, mna ndiloo ndithi akho mali ewadini. Kube kunemali yewadi eloku ifakwa kwezinye iwadi. Kwenzeka ntoni ke? Enkosi. Andendeliseki futhi impendulo yakho, MM. Ngoba naphambili wawutsho kanje. Ndicinga uba ngoku kuzawubuya nento endixelelayo uba nyhani Ward 3 kunemali engaka. Ngoba naseNantsikele eSkumane kunemali engu-50,000 esebenza phaa ebizwa ngokuthi yimathi ikwa-Ward 3. Nantsi ingxaki yam endinayo.
Thank you, Councillor Matusini. These items served before the committee. It is items that was dealt with. I'm not sure if the councillor raised it in the finance committee. However, the council is asking clarity with reference to a solar project in that ward, and it seems as if he is indicating that money was moved from one project to another, or one ward to another. Can I just then move that this be investigated with the response to the councillor with full detail, because it seems as if the CFO also don't understand and is indicating that he doesn't now have the answers in front of him to respond. But I then request that CFO will then just provide feedback to councillor in terms of the question that he has raised. Thank you very much, Councillor Matusini. If there's no other questions of clarity on the committee items, we then move to Roman 8 on our agenda. Yes, Councillor Zapula. Now, Councillor Matusini, please switch up your line. I would make a ruling on your question. Councillor Zapula.
Madam Speaker, izawuba khona ingxaki xa izinto ezithethwa kweli bhodi ingenziwa ngehlobo ezithethwa ngaso. Kudala sizikhalazele ezi zinto zidibene newadi. Ndimxhasa ugxa wam ke kule nto ayithethayo. Uba ngaba khona sithetha into ukuthi masibheke ofisini mayibhala yakho ibe i-full council meeting yesinayo. Izinto zifika ziphendulwa apha ebhungeni so that yonke into yayaziwa nje uba isaziwa nezinye nezinye izinto. Ngoba sawuphuma apha sibheke ekuhlaleni simane sibuza ngezi zinto sibe singafumani ezi-answer. Into esifuna yimpendulo uba why imali yase-ward 3 iyosebenza ngenye iwadi but ibizwa ngo-ward 3. Singathi siyifumane impendulo nto leyo kungasokuthi kuyagqithwa kube ngokompendulo ecacileyo ngxakasana. Ngobekho impendulo ecacileyo ngxakasana kule nto andisoko masiqhubekeke nezinye izinto. Asukukwaba mhlawumbi kuthiwa masigqithe kule nto ibingaphendulwanga ngohlobo ekufanele iphendulwa ngalo. Siyirashe imithi yokuba sibheke phambili sibe sinezinto sizishiyelela ngesemva. Ayizusincedisa kakhulu loo nto leyo.
Thank you, Councillor. The item served in front of the committee, the every councillor does have an opportunity to ask questions and pose questions to the chairperson when the right thing. However, councillors are allowed to ask questions of clarity and receive feedback. And on the questions of Councillor Matusini, I'm not going to allow you a third opportunity. You already have two chances. I rule because the municipal manager doesn't have the answers now in terms of the questions asked because the annexes is also now not attached and the CFO is just requesting an opportunity to provide feedback to what Councillor Matusini asked in terms of FC 66. And I requested in him that the councillor give adequate and sufficient response in that regard. Remember, I'll allow you an opportunity to just respond. Then I want to conclude on this matter. Thank you.
Speaker, thank you. Speaker, I take responsibility for the administration of this organization. It's not palatable if you are accused in an open council meeting as if you don't do anything for the council. I just want to mention, Chairperson, it's very, very difficult for the administration if you come to a formal council meeting with a lot of items, and apart from that items, a lot of other things are being put on the table here. We've got a system in place as the administration where we have Skype help us with it. We develop an action list that comes from the council meeting for issues that are not on the agenda, in order for us to make sure that we attend to it. That action list gets drawn up and we discuss it at the managers, at the directors meeting. And we take responsibility, each director take responsibility for the item which is allocated to his director in order like the public found. So as you rule speaker, give us some time. It's difficult for us if we don't know before the time, Councillor Buddha, what you're gonna ask. If we know before the time, we can give you the answers, we can prepare for them. But it's very, very difficult. You must remember, Chairperson, Speaker, that we're dealing with thousands of people outside. We're not dealing with a council meeting only. We have issues running daily. My diary, Speaker, it's in a mess daily because you have a diary, but so many other things happen that you need to attend to. It's impossible for us to attend to all of these things. But I want to ask the councillor, I've got an open door policy, and I think councillors can attest to that. If there's something like this, just give me a call or a WhatsApp that I can follow up instead of waiting for a council meeting, a formal council meeting, Chairperson, Speaker, to mention these things. I'm not afraid to take responsibility. I'm not afraid to take the brunt. I'm a humble person. If I'm wrong, I will apologize. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I am on item of the agenda, cognizance of the municipal manager resolutions in terms of delegated authority as
Can I make a remark on what the MMN ruled?
proceed.
Very sweet and short. It's very frustrating when, as a councillor, for the responsibilities that fall on me, calling on a meeting with the MMN directors, giving time frames for them to respond, and it's something just no. The list, action list, is a nice thing. But if there's nothing coming from me as a to me as a councillor, the request that I've made, I'm asking myself, what who am I in this? I just want to make that.
Thank you for your comment. It is so noted. And if there are such incidents, then you can also just communicate with the office of the speaker in order to follow up. Executive Mayor.
Speaker, yeah, I'm just worried about councillors throwing allegations around at this stage in a public meeting against the administration, which is obviously not allowed in terms of the rules of order. So I want to ask, please urge the councillors, if you feel that the administration is not answering you, put it in writing with the evidence and take it up with the work of the speaker. But to do allegations in the council meeting, I don't think that's the right way to do it. We've got all laptops and airtime and so on. So my suggestion is that the council put his frustration with the evidence in writing. But I think it's not like that we take our administration to task in an open meeting and makes it look as if they're not doing their work, because I don't experience that. Each and every message I've sent to any of our administration has been answered. And I've mentioned it in the previous management meeting that there is no single request or correspondence from my side outstanding. I thank them for that. So if it's only me that's receiving that treatment, not the other councillors, then they must please provide proof they are.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Councillors are then invited to put all the complaints in writing, which will follow the procedure in terms of the with 8 cognizance of the municipal manager's resolutions, items GM62 to GM65. Can I have a proposal in this regard, please? Thank you very much. The seconder.
I will second that, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Van Dyke. Notifications of questions either. We are then on Roman 9 of our agenda, which is the communications by the Executive Mayor, and I now hand over to our Executive Mayor to address Council and the public with his feedback report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Speaker, and to yourself, and councillors, Municipal Manager, and the Municipal Executive. We have recently revisited the 5 strategic points we have set ourselves at the beginning of this term, which are community safety, a healthy environment, good governance, social regeneration, and to grow the economy. And November marks our first year in office, and from 1 November, we will share some of the success stories for the first year in office. Then, following our Executive Mayoral Committee and Management Strategic session last Friday, we have also re-strategized, and some of the tasks that we set ourselves out to do has been now concluded, and now we're refocusing on some of the objectives that's still outstanding. And we are also fast approaching the end of 2022. This offers us an opportunity to reflect on the successes and challenges we have had this year. We can consider what we hope to do differently and to what we want to achieve in 2023. Therefore, now it's a good time to focus on vitality and social regeneration as we head into the home stretch of 2022. This past weekend, we kicked off with a healthy body and a healthy mind gathering, when almost 100 residents, it might be more than 100 residents of Mossel Bay hiked with us, with the municipality, and it was about 8.8 kilometers. According to Mr. Johnston, but my phone said it was 10.5 kilometers, but we hiked this in late now, and I think it was a good event. A lot of people from town of all races participated, which we really enjoyed. And I think it was a good strategy to also do shoulders a bit again and discuss nature and to experience it and so on. So we've got a lot of positive feedback, and I think we must consider doing it maybe on a quarterly basis. So in future we also will do some of the Primus High and Groot Truck. We've got various beautiful trails, and we will also do some of the Primus High and Groot Truck. We've got various beautiful trails, and we will also do some of the Primus High and Groot Truck. We've got various beautiful trails, and we will also do some of the Primus High and Groot Truck. We've got various beautiful trails, and we will also do some of the Primus High and Groot Truck. We've got various beautiful trails, and we will also do some of the Primus High and Groot Truck. We've got various beautiful trails, and we will also do some of the Primus High and Groot Truck. We've got various beautiful trails, and we will also do some of the Primus High and Groot Truck. We've got various beautiful trails, and we will also do some of the Primus High and Groot Truck. We've got various beautiful trails, and we will also do some of the Primus High and Groot Truck. We've got various beautiful trails, and we will also do some of the Primus High and And obviously that's fine as part of focusing on a healthy body and a healthy mind, and obviously to showcase the beautiful nature, the area in which we stay, and the environment in which we stay. And obviously these trails can also be utilized to the benefit of tourism and growing the economy. So that's the whole idea behind the hikes. After this council meeting, we will also have a special celebration that will follow at the Mountain View Housing Development, when long-time residents of Mossel Bay will take up ownership of their new homes. The Provincial MEC of Infrastructure, Minister Tasha Simmers, will formally hand over the new homes to residents who have until backyard dwellers. These residents will now be able to proudly invite friends and family to their new homes for Christmas. Mossel Bay is a primary role play in tourism in the Western Cape. I can just mention that I was very honored to open the St. Blaise, the new tunnel, the Mosaic Tunnel. And the tunnel obviously leads to the cradle of human culture, the Pinnacle Point Caves, that have revealed the world's earliest evidence of man's modern behavior dating back some 164,000 years. We live in an area with rich cultural heritage and embrace the nature, as I've mentioned, and also the cultural belonging. I unveiled the largest tunnel mosaic in Africa, or the Mosaic Tunnel, at Pinnacle Point on 24 September. And the tunnel is basically 50 odd meters long, and it will be tiled. They're already busy with it, with some 3 million mosaic tiles. And the project will take up to 4 years. And I think that it's really going to be an iconic, another iconic space in Mossel Bay, or a destination where people can go and visit. And I've seen some of the arts that's already taking place, which is beautiful. And the whole idea of the project is also to uplift and to learn people to do mosaic. So the idea is to have people from the community to train them doing mosaic. And then I think in future we must consider having the people who've learned doing this mosaic now to then create small businesses and possibly sell their product from some of our hubs. So that, I think, is the longer term plan for that tunnel. And at this stage, we concluded with our Great Escape to Mossel Bay campaign, and now we've started with a new iconic Mossel Bay project or destination marketing campaign. And I think we can congratulate Mossel Bay Tourism for the great campaign that they're currently running. I think that we are very honored to have these various larger events taking place in our town. Currently, we have the Sunshine Tour, and I've mentioned to one of the colleagues earlier this morning, unfortunately, I don't think that the Sunshine Tour have seen any sun this week yet. So hopefully it will change from the better to the weekend. But we've got some of the golfers in town. We know that we've got also the Vodacom Top 60 playing during the week and so on. So yeah, warm welcome to them, and I hope that they, and we are council, we hope that they enjoy their stay. Then we all know that we've got the Buffalo Rally this weekend in town, and then soon we will also have, before the season, we will also have the Moss Jazz. I must also then mention on the 6th of November, this council paid for the major event to have that in town is the Ironman 70.3 triathlon, and I think we all can agree that we're all really looking forward to that. And we've asked that all council members also be invited for the event on Sunday. Then in terms of revitalizing our communities, we also need to continue to revitalize our communities. And I want to commend the Peter Nell for planting. I think it's up to almost 3,000 trees already in the past 11 months. Am I exaggerating? Now it's more. That's a good news. So thank you very much for that. We're very proud of that, greening our town, but obviously caring for the environment is, however, not merely about planting trees or greening our environment. It requires a concerted effort to educate our community on the importance of healthy environments. And obviously, part of that, we want people to feel a sense of place. We want communities to feel proud of where they stay. So at this stage, we know that we've got challenges, especially in the Oslo Park area, where we almost weekly go and visit as the Mako and MM on our Tuesday Make a Difference visits. And we do see that there's still a lot of unnecessary dumping spots and so on. And we want to urge the community also to take up their part in helping with this problem. From the municipality side, we are re-strategizing, and at this stage, I know that from the canal side, the frequency at which they remove this rubble has been upped, and there's a whole new strategy around that. But obviously, we must also now work with the communities and ask that they please not just throw rubble around, and that we take pride in our spaces. That's obviously also not healthy. Then, in terms of ISCOM suggested 32% hike in tariffs, I must emphasize that from my side, I definitely do not support that. And I think I can speak on behalf of a lot of us. That's a massive hike. And we are facing the prospects of another 18 months of load shedding, which is also very concerning and detrimental to the economy, which is obviously a matter of grave concern. And at this stage, I can just mention to the colleagues that we are really looking the municipal energy resilience program has now been concluded, and we received the studies, the outcome of the studies. And Director Naidu indicated that we will most probably go out on tender in the next month or so to see if we can get the planned solar plant up with IPP generating some green energy for us. And as we know, we're also busy with the EIA, and we're also busy already with the new high voltage line towards Mossel that will cater for this renewable energy. I must mention at this stage that obviously green energy or renewable energy can only support 27% of our total demand. And unfortunately, the problem with green energy is also that it's grid tied, which means whenever ISCOM switches off, that energy is unfortunately also not available. So that's the major concern regarding green energy. So the real challenge for all municipalities in South Africa is to generate baseload, what they call, and that's where you can create continuous supply of energy so that you can basically totally switch off from ISCOM, that you don't need to run through them, and so on. So at this stage, that's the main challenge, and I can mention that we are in talks with Petro SA, the tail gas from Petro SA, to see if we can maybe run our own gas turbine plant and so on, and that might most probably also be taken up in the tender. That's the idea that we follow that route. So hopefully we will be able to get that right. Then in terms of the newsletter that will go out, there's a lot more said in the newsletter regarding energy, and once again switching on and off of electricity and so on. So I'm not going to touch on that now, but it's also in the newsletter that will go out. Then I can just mention in September, I participated in the Southern African Oil and Gas Alliance Conference. And what I've learned there is that the Petro SA GLT refinery at Mossel was commissioned in '92 as the world's first gas to liquid refinery. And they built that whole refinery on a find of 1.3 TCF or trillion cubic feet of product, which delivered 75 million barrels of product over 15 years. And that was deemed a substantial and had a huge economic impact on our town. Now, I can mention, and I've learned there, that the more recent Total Energies has made a significant gas condensate discovery on the Bloemfontein prospects located on Block 11 and 12B in the Tuniqua Basin. That's about 175 kilometers offshore. And the find that they found there is 29 TCF compared to Mossgas or the Petro SA 1.3 TCF. So these discoveries has been described as game changers at the conference for the South African economy, with the potential to completely change the local economy by stimulating growth, development, with a projected benefit, direct benefit of 2,420 jobs. The indirect opportunities was, I think, around about 4,500, and then I can remember the amount, the downstream benefit to the total region is in the vicinity of 14,000 jobs that might go, or opportunities that will be created. So connecting and collaborating with our faith-based organizations, and in terms of the light at the end of the tunnel, the idea is to have our faith-based organizations working hand in hand with the municipality. And at this stage, we are looking to have discussions and invite all the faith-based leaders in town at the end of November to see how we can work with our churches in town. We know that they've got a massive role to play. And the reason why we concentrate on them as partners throughout this past year, and I think we could have done even more, but obviously we've been very busy. But we know that in terms of resources, we've got massive challenges. We see the street-based people getting more overtime, and we see our various social problems escalate all the time. And this is the space in which churches operate. They do a lot of good work, and I think the whole idea is just to be on the same page and to see how we can take hands, how we can assist them, and how they can also play a role in helping the municipality to alleviate some of the problems, especially social problems in our community. Madam Speaker, that way we can.
And also some major problems that will up. Good news to the community, and thank you for appreciated and on behalf of the council. Thank you for leading this administration, this council, and ensuring that this is how it is. Councillor Baroni.
Speaker, not information in this speech. Just a proposal. After the mayor's speech, we hear about this fate of mankind, humankind. I think it's high time the best council also take control that destination. Because previous council did. That's my proposal. Thanks.
Thank you for your proposal, Executive Mayor. The proposal to take council to approve and subject to everybody to participate. No questions are allowed under the speech of the mayor, but I'll allow the council to want to the comments. You will get that. You might proceed.
I just wondered on the issue of renewable energy. It is my knowledge that there is a project coming down. There was also one and one with myself and the mayor on the planning project. At that stage, the mayor process. That has been with the Department of Policy, Fishing and Environment. The environmental study that has been approved by the department is now officially with the municipality. There is a process, I assume, participation ongoing, but I have come across the related one individual participant that has didn't receive any, only one person. I am however a resident of the settlement. And the fact that there is such a process going on without the council having any body deliberating on that matter is a concern. Perhaps, maybe I don't know how that process should work. I'm raising this here. So I'm saying there's a process going on that hasn't been with council. It has got something to do with the renewable energy. And I listened closely to the mayor. He alluded to it with SA and renewable energy. He made mention of this Green League's 3,000 megawatt PS plant in particular. I just worried as to why not. Perhaps my question is to the mayor, the renewable energy version that he has painted, has that got to do something with the 3,000 megawatt of with by Sativa as a consultant, then when is this council going to deal with that? Because this process is going on outside without this council dealing with the matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Porter. Executive Mayor, over to you.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to maybe the visit of the political point guides. William, we can just please make a note, then we can help arrange that. If it's fine, then my office will arrange it. But then I just want to ask the colleagues, would you like to do it in December? That might be a bit difficult, I think, due to them being busy with all the tourists. Is it fine if we do it early next year? That fine with council. Okay, then we will arrange it for after that. It's not in the season time. Hopefully we can get it for free for council. I know it's a guided tour and so on, but we know Dr. Nielsen, so we'll ask him if it's fine if we take council down there. I think that's a very good suggestion. I've also been there quite a few years ago. Then in terms of the renewable energy, Councillor Porter, the green leaf application is it took the same route, I think, and unfortunately, Director Painter is not here now. But in terms of the air emission licenses and all that stuff, it went the same route as far as I understand as Royka. Most probably that's why we've not seen it yet. But it's also interesting that it took them very short to get their license, but it's not got nothing to do with what we are planning or discussing. In terms of renewable energy, that's going to be the idea is to have solar plant in the blast zone of PKSA on municipal land. And then obviously, if we can get the tail gas, then we will have to negotiate to see where one can put that turbine. But it's going to be like the exact turbines as they use at the Gaudiqua station now. I suppose maybe a bit smaller. Those are quite big ones. But maybe Director now you can also help me. But I suppose that plants will also be on the land that we're busy with the EIAs now. But in terms of the green leaf, I know Councillor Woodard did send me some of the correspondence that he received, I think, a week ago. So I must be honest, I must still read through that. But I was also concerned when I saw that it's not, that it's possibly not on Eskom land, but I'm also not acquainted with all the information. And I'm also wondering when or how it's going to be dealt with by council. I'm not aware of any public participation processes that took part. That's why I was actually quite surprised when I heard that the EIA has been given and so on.
Thanks, Executive Director. I can just ask Director Naidu, you just very briefly like to comment or add in terms of some insight that you have on the matter. Councillor Porter, can we add Director Naidu? Whose department is responsible to also represent us on this matter. To respond. Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, there are two separate projects. 3,000 megawatt is an ESCOM project. We are just being kept in the loop as an interested and affected party. But that is all our involvement was on the 3,000 megawatt ESCOM project. The 30 megawatts project, because there is the application environmental affairs also included the Watersport industrial facility as well as the solar plant. That application was submitted by town planning a few months ago. We're expecting approval around March next year. Okay. In November, we should have a bid specification committee meeting for the solar project. We're hoping that a contractor or service provider will be appointed around March or so, and to implement the project July 3. So those are the milestones at the stage. In terms of the gas to energy project, gas to electricity project, we've had discussions with Petro SA. Nothing has been confirmed at this stage. They still need to do further investigation from their side. We were hoping that they would by now come back with something so that we could include the gas to energy, gas to electricity project in this tender. But if they do not come back to us now, then we will just be going out and tender for a solar project. It would be a 30 megawatt project. And as the mayor also indicated earlier, that we are also busy with the construction of a line between Moss Industrial and Orchard substation. That line has got currently has a capacity of 30 megawatts. It will be increased to 47 megawatt. The idea is to replace the whole line, which already surpassed its life expectancy. And with the upgrade, would be obviously checking for the additional solar or other load for new developments, etc.
Thank you, Director Naidu. Although the directors, you can excuse yourself for a minute just to see your equipment go to the bathroom. We're gonna still be here for a while because we haven't even started with the agenda. But I can see you. Director Naidu, would it be possible you share some insight? And I know there was a presentation done also at the executive session, executive meeting. Perhaps at the next committee, technical committee meeting, Director Naidu can do a presentation where more detail can be provided so that the full council can just be informed. I know you've given an oral overview, but maybe at the next committee meeting, municipal manager. I think Mr. Naidu is giving us some great insight there for all councillors to understand directly if we can then just plan as such. Thank you very much. Councillor Porter, you concluding?
Thank you. Thank you, Director. The question is quite insightful because I can see that that's what you always been before I assume what you are saying, what I saw out there. That is something interesting. I wasn't aware of the 30 megawatt thing, while at the same time welcoming anything that can bring us out of this of load shedding and so forth. Well, that can be better. However, on the issue of the green 3,000 megawatt, thank you, Mayor, for your response also, but just to also that you don't that currently there's an application for rezoning industrial land into industrial land. And my question is very simple as to where does it start? Is my understanding that when such processes are ongoing, must come here, because we are here with rezoning. But if it's happening, I haven't seen anything as such in
Thank you very much, Councillor Porter. Executive Mayor.
Speaker, I think that we share the same sentiments. That's why we took the decision to get that 79 up and running, and that's why we didn't want to waste some time.
Good, thank you, Executive Mayor. We then will have Mr. Director Naidu also presenting at the next committee meetings because I think you've given this morning very good insight in it, but it would be very good if Director can present because he's got all the information. Councillors, thank you very much. Thank you, Executive Mayor. It's important that you inform and keep council and the public up to date with what's happening in terms of the business that we do. And this morning, you've done so very well through your report. Then other communications of the speaker, councillors, please note that unfortunately, we will not have the CWP presentation this morning. And keep sparing 20 minutes there, Councillor David Campbell. The office, the Western Cape office responsible for this department, unfortunately had an urgent meeting this morning. However, they are proposing that we have a council information session by next week, and we will communicate the details as such for all councillors to attend, so that you can be informed in terms of what the future prospects are for our municipality or difference to the CWP program. And I wish to thank the chairperson of Corporate Services Council and the board for acknowledging that and ensuring that we sorted our life. Councillors, in this morning we have our list of birthday celebrations, and we had Councillor Uncle Barker who celebrated their birthday on the 15th of October. Congratulations, Councillor Barker, you wish you well. Also, Councillor Erika Meyer, who celebrated her birthday on the 17th of October. Congratulations, Councillor Meyer. And we also wish you well. Your hair is very beautiful. Ik weet het so lange hare in Councillor. Prachtig. Het was een paasblommetjie. Then Councillor Kontu celebrating his birthday on the 29th of October. Halala. And we also wish you well, Councillors. Take care of yourself. It's important. And with God, we still grace upon our lives. They great resources. Please also celebrate, but take care of yourself. Councillors, then we unfortunately also have the list of residents of our town who has passed. And I ask you to please manage for a moment of time. Thank you very much, councillors and directors. You might be seated. I've just been reminded we don't have it on the list, but our very own director Naidu celebrated his birthday. When was that, Imam? Director Naidu celebrated his birthday on Monday. He's our very own Superman, Councillor Buddha. All of us love him because he makes magic, they say. We're very fortunate to have Director Naidu part of our team. He's doing exceptionally well. He's been there for a very long time now, so just wanted to wish you well. Thank you for tolerating us and for the good work that you're doing within this municipality in the Greater Mossel. Councillor Porter, are you buying the cake?
I get it to 79.
Ja, zou je wat ze kippen zijn nou? Spannend of wat?
Thank you for the appointment. I just want to congratulate everyone, even from the leader that is having But the question, Speaker, is I think there's a notion in this council that when you allocate employment, put a ceiling of age. How old is the director and when is he going to say to that point? I just want to wish him well.
Thank you very much. Yes, councillors. Then we on Roman 10, we have any written questions that was received. Executive Mayor.
No, not as far as I know, Chair. Speaker.
Thank you, Mayor.
Not Speaker.
Thank you very much. Councillors, before we start with our agenda, I wish to indicate that the committee item, which is CGI, in terms of the okay, councillor, I wish to indicate to you that item CGI 8, which is currently in the in-committee agenda, will be dealt with in the open council meeting. That is in terms of the acting appointment and payment of acting allowance for directors, section 56 appointments when acting as municipal manager. That item we will be dealing with in the open council meeting. Thank you very much. I then now take you to our agenda and we then officially starting on my pink pages. Item E235, the finance management report for September 2022. Can I have a proposal in this regard, please?
Speaker, thank you. I want to propose E235, a finance management report as per recommendation. From my side, I just want to, this is our last meeting for the impact. So I want to thank everybody that plays part in impact, the directors, the municipal manager, our committee. It is always supportive. So we will, our next meeting will be in January. Thank you very much. So I propose.
Thank you very much, NPEC Chairperson, also to the town police. It's responsible to do a very important oversight role. Thank you very much. Do we have a seconder for the proposal? Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will second it. Thank you very much, Councillor Mayor, for seconding item E235. Is there any questions on that? Yes, Councillor Kwada, you may proceed.
Ndiyabulela. Ndiyabulela nkosazana Somlomo. Ngobe sibambe imithingi u-chairperson ndiye ndaphakamisa okokubana kuba kukho kweza KPIs ze-directors eziye kukho ii-performance ezingaphange zimihle phana. So ndiye ndathi ku-chairperson okokubana ndiyacela okokubana chairperson le report imonitorishwe and sifumane i-full update. Kuzo ndawo ezo kukho khona i-non-performance, but ndicinga ukuba uchairperson uye wakhawuleza wavala xa ndigqibothetha. Andiyazi noba akandivanga okanye kwenzeke intoni na.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kwaza. So with regards to the minutes from the impact meeting, Councillor Baron as chairperson, Councillor Kwaza indicated that monitoring in terms of progress, and she says it's not reflecting in the minutes. And it's just Councillor Kwaza, can I have the light for Councillor Baron? Thank you, Councillor Baron.
The members of impact, everybody knows, and all the information that anybody needs always available. So I said in that meeting that anyone that needs information, I even said to Councillor Porter, I will go with him to the CFO. So Councillor Kwaza is welcome to have the information. There's no secrets within our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Baron. Councillor Kwaza, are you comfortable?
U-chairperson ewe uyithethile lo.
You may proceed.
U-chairperson uyithethile ndiyivile loo ndaba leyo uyitsho chairperson. Ndithi ndiye ndathi chairperson into kukho laa nto ungakhange uyibhale phantsi uyinote. Njengokubana kweza areas ze-KPI khange ubuyele kuye wayivala imeeting.
Thank you, Councillor Kwaza. So you indicated that you asked for the monitoring of the KPIs and you wanted to reflect in the minutes and such. I can also confirm that it also just come in the month to the committee, Councillor Baron. It's just not reflecting now in the minutes.
Right. And Chairperson, we will correct it.
Thank you very much then, Councillor Kwaza.
Ndiyabulela chairperson.
If there's no any other input, thank you very much for
Now I do have an input.
thank you, Councillor Kuntu. You may proceed.
Oh, well, mine here, I just need to understand on the side of the chairperson. Do they have the working plan as an impact ever since they started? And secondly,
I want to understand what the role of this committee is to do the oversight. Then when I check, for the time that I was new, then when I check the other documents, I've noticed that in this committee we have majority of one party. And I just want to understand, the party is doing the oversight themselves.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kuntu. Councillor Kuntu is asking if the MP has a working document. And then what the clarity on what the functions is and how that is posted.
Chairperson, I think the impact is one of those committees in the state that we get so much assistance from the province. They are trained, the council serving, they are trained, they get regular training. The impact also have got its own term of reference, so they know exactly under which terms they can operate, chairperson. The only thing I know is that that the chairperson cannot be of the ruling party. But the constitution is something else from that party. That as long as the chairperson is not from the ruling party, that's fine. But chairperson, speaker, this is just to accept the minutes of the last meeting. I think if the councillor can, he can come to us. We will gladly assist him with the information that he needs as to how impact works and all the questions he might have.
Thank you very much, Municipal Manager. We then note the minutes of the impact committee to council. We are on item E236, the supply chain management monthly report for deviations approved for the month of August 2022. That is proposal to the state cognizance. Can I have a proposal, please?
Madam Speaker, I would like to propose item E236.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kutsia. Do I have a second for Councillor Kutsia?
Madam Speaker, I second it.
Thank you, Councillor Delabay. Councillor Post, I see you.
Thank you, Speaker. If I may request that we adjust the report, the deviation report, not only to reflect how many deviations are performed in a month, but also the value of those deviations. If that could be included in the report, that would be appreciated. And then, not to bore the council, because I have asked many times about this, but I'm asking many times about it because I still haven't received it. I have asked that an investigation be done as to the viability of purchasing some of the bigger equipment that we rent regularly, like the bulldozer, for example, because of the cost to this municipality each time we rent it. I'm not saying we must do it. I'm just saying I'd like to see a viability, not a study, but just a short investigation done on what the cost would be to us to purchase our own one. I think at one of the meetings previously, it has been mentioned that such a study has been done, but we haven't received any report back on it. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. Councillor House, CFO, would you like to respond? It's just questions and inputs in terms of amending the report so that there's some sort of description in terms of what the deviation is for and the amount.
Speaker, we take that of the request. We can forward to those with regards to the amount and the number. I see the number easy, but not the amount. And then with regards to the study, because I study not going deep into it, because there's more to just buying a truck or a bigger vehicle. Because now when we speak about it, the reason the other people also don't want to tender or push anymore is because of damages. We never work on some of the features and some sample the damages the equipment. So they've got maintenance costs to them, because we also have to take into consideration. We buy a truck, we have to buy a low bed to transport it also there. So there's another additional cost. So the maintenance of detailed one with amount of how much it's cost, maintenance cost.
that we are in configuration.
Thank you for your responses, CFO. Have a good day. There's no further input or questions. We are taking to the 7th and monthly report with regards to supply chain management. August 2022. Thank the council to take note. Can I please have a proposal?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to propose E237.
Thank you, Councillor Anya. To a second that.
Madam Speaker, I'll second it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Anya. The councillor with the question. Councillor House.
Thank you, Speaker. Another question, just a comment on the report. Noticing that with one of the objections that you raised regarding the objection from the person, I can't remember the company's name now, but they said that they provided CVs that had signatures on and they were rejected, the tender was rejected as non-compliant, and after the objection was investigated, it was then upheld, and that whole process has to now be started again. And to me, it seems like I don't want to say it's a petty reason to make sorry, my COVID brain is dropping me right now. But if you've got a situation where somebody is applying for a contract and that person has not complied with the signature, for example, if it really is that severe that we have to now go through a whole process, because now when you delay the awarding of a tender, it impacts on our budget and it impacts on our service delivery. And then the other thing that I have asked for the objections report, that the reasons be more comprehensively communicated to us in the report. To me, it's not sufficient because now I've got to follow up on each one why the objection was upheld or not. It just always states that it was or it wasn't, and then that's the end of the report. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much for your comment, which is noted. Is there any other input from the council? Thank you very much. We are then on item E238, the report on council approved capital project budget for its state routes. And we have the recommendations listed from points 1 to 3. Can I have a proposal for this item, please?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I propose.
Thank you, Councillor Delamain. You are a seconder for Councillor Delamain.
Madam Chair, a second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Leroux. Is there any councillor who have a question of clarity on this matter? I see Councillor Holt and Councillor Cincini and the Councillor Holt.
Thank you, Speaker. First of all, let me express my appreciation for this initiative and taking account of the fact that many of these escape routes make criminal activity a little bit easier in our town. What I would like to know is, was there a public participation process before these areas were closed? And secondly, who identified the walkways that needed to be closed because of criminal, being identified as criminal escape routes?
Thank you very much. Councillor House will comment light. Councillor De Bola.
Madam Speaker. Ngifuna ukuqonda page 2744 financial year 2022-2023 project expenditure. Imali ngimcacisele phakathi kamthimba wa-5 2023 kula 14,001 ukuthi kwenzeka ntoni phayana then izolandela kubinga.
Thank you very much for your question, Councillor Machisini.
Enkosi, Madam Speaker. Mna ndinombuzo phakathi. Yintoni escape route? Okwesibini umbuzo. Xa ngaba kwenziwa kuzawukhutshwa umsebenzi kwenziwe i-10. Kodwa ngoku sixelelwa ngemali ephelileyo phaa kusafuneka ezinye iimali. Bezingaphelelwananga na iingxaki engabe zenzeka xa kusetyenzwa? Enkosi.
Thank you very much. It's from Manager of the Council of Health. The program has received the questions. Can you please kindly respond?
Thank you, Speaker. I will ask the colleagues to assist me where I don't have all the answers. The first question from Councillor Cruz, she wants to know who decides where, what, and public participation. You will find out that all these escape routes are being closed because of criminal activity. And what we've decided in the past that if the police request us in conjunction with CPF and with neighborhood watchers in an area, we go out, investigate, and we do it when we are of the opinion that they are correct. So the department doesn't decide on its own. It's from a public, it's an outcry from the public. If sometimes people stay next to that hangiki, and you will find that people smoke stuff there, they rob people, they make a noise at night and so on, which is a hindrance to the people staying adjacent. Now we get those kind of complaints from the community. We run it by with the police and neighborhood watch and CPF. And if they agree, then we go and we close it up. What happens in Cedula Street, Councillor, I don't know. I think there was also a request for that to be closed, but as I see, it's incomplete. They don't have sufficient funding, and that's why they bring this item to Council to say that safety is important to our communities. Council must consider if they can't get more money just to request to address these requests on the list here. Okay. What is an escape route? I think I've explained now, Council. It's a passage between two houses. We get it all over our communities. And then the tender story, we go out on tender for fencing, which lasts for 3 years, Mr. Fenton. We appoint the tenderer for 3 years, and we make use of that tender to do fencing. It's a fence that we put on both sides of the edge. We've been doing it all of the shows. We're not asking a tender quotation for every piece of furniture that there are. I hope it answers the question, sir. Because I don't know if the safety, we're doing it for safety reasons, not for anything else.
Thank you, Municipal Manager. I'll ask the portfolio chairperson if you would like to add to the comments on the MM.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. I concur with the information that the MM has provided. I think in the past we tried to close more of these alleys by way of old materials that we had to ensure that there's no burdening of costs. But there's only so much materials available that could be utilized. So unfortunately, this is where we are now, is to make sure that going forward that we put this on the agenda to be placed or to be erected.
Thank you very much, because it has a cost implication. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Councillor Tapula, I'll allow follow up on your side.
Apha kuthiwa project expenditure nabekwe areas babekwa fanele aba-20 street abhala kwa-40,000. But xa ndihamba mna njengokhanselela wakhe zange ndabona nto iqhubekekayo ku-2022, 2023 edibene neprojekthi expenditure. Kodwa nantsi imali ibekwe phaya. Babonakala uba iyashota again ekuthubeni ohlobo edifunde ngalo ngebhulethi apha ngebhusini. So ndifuna ukwazi ubana if le project bangayicedi ngesiphi, kodwa andiboni into kuthiwa iyaqhubekeka phayana eyenziwayo. Mhlawumbi kuthiwa upgrade istrata, andiboni into. Mhlawumbi kwenza i-sidewalk, andiboni into phayana. I-sidewalk eziphayana zika-2017, 2019. So andiboni into from 2022, 2023, but nathi imali ibekwe wapha. So andibuze lo mbuzo.
Thank you very much. I think the council is saying that it doesn't know which area in his ward is this open space in terms of the space. And I don't know if the relevant authorities will be able to assist, because it has got nothing to do with the upgrading of the street or sidewalk, but everything to do with the actual finance councillor, which is the SK group. In other words, it might be an alley somewhere in the road and asking me here is Emil.
Maybe I might just explain the columns on the page there, Councillor. You might understand that. If we look at projected expenditure for Credit Street, 14,900. That's what the department need to close that anyway. They don't have the money. That's why it says incomplete. So they need the money at the adjustment budget to go back and to go close that road. They haven't started this. I understand that. You said you don't see anything happening there. And yet they're stuck on the budget. The money is not on the budget now. They need the money. They brought this item now to council. Tell council when we get to February to adjustment budget and you have money, we want some more money to close these. It's not only that one. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4 streets that needs to be closed still. I hope you understand, council. It's not happening as yet. We're coming to council and say, listen, we want to do Credit Street, it's going to cost 14,000, but we don't have the money. Council must please consider to give us the money come February adjustment budget.
Thank you, Municipal Manager. So Councillor De Boona, there is no project. That's why you don't see any work. We're asking for council for this money because of that project to then be completed, but it must first be put on the budget. So you on the adjustment budget, so you understand now.
Yes, we need to understand.
Thank you very much, Councillor De Boona. If there's no objections to the item, thank you very much for your interest. The item then carries unanimously. We are then on item E239 on page 2745. The proposed elimination of 21791 Mossel Bay, situated at Alma Park, Jeffrey Drive, Mossel Bay, by the means of tender process.
Madam Speaker,
We have our recommendations listed from points 1 to 9. And I believe this item is now, it was before council. It is now back following the public participation process. Can I have a proposal in this regard, please?
Madam Speaker, I would like to propose that we refer this item back.
Thank you very much. There's this proposal for referring this item back by Councillor Fitzia, and this may be briefly just in Latin Council and to perhaps just some clarity or further investigation. Can we just give the council an opportunity?
Madam Speaker, we believe that the policy regarding the development of what is envisioned there should form part of the tender process so that we can ensure that there is the correct mix of economic activity to the benefit of the community as a whole, so that we just have insight in what the developer entails. So there's a policy workshop that needs to be held with regards to that.
Thank you very much. So the item will then be referred back, and there's no need for discussion on this thing. Thank you very much, Councillor. We are then on item E240.
No. Basically.
Oh, thank you very much, Councillor. Sorry.
Well, first.
Thank you very much. You secondly.
I fully second. I did raise that let's give people that are going to be in that area opportunity, rather than to have official to decide.
Thank you for fully seconding it, and thank you, Councillor, for pointing out that we need a seconder, which was Councillor Kuntu, who gladly did that now. We are then on item E240, the proposed elimination of a portion of 291 Little Brack River, 6th Avenue, Little Brack River, situated adjacent to 881 Little Brack River, which is J Mountain. We have our recommendations listed in front of us from point 1 to 14. Can I have a proposal in this regard, please?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to propose item E240 of October 2022 for approval.
Thank you very much, Executive Assistant Mayor. Can you please switch off your mic? May we have a second again for the Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to second this item.
Thank you very much, Councillor Aniata Panrensko. Is there any questions of clarity from any councillor on this item? Yes, Councillor Kultu.
No, Madam Speaker, there's no question of clarity. But kunento nje ndifanele uba make ndiyitsho.
Just repeat that last sentence for me.
Kunento nje ndifanele uba make ndiyitsho. Apha kulo masipala sireze kakhulu into edibene nento edibene ne-public participation ngokuthengiswa kwemihlaba ngekwendlela ethengiswa ngayo. Bendize ndiredi ke namhlanje for a land use planning committee because I think ngokwesipluma iphaya le nto apho icaciswa khona. But ndifuna ukuthi kumasipala i-leadership kumasipala should set the tone and drive good governance, organizational integrity. Why ndisitsho nje? The community must be acknowledged and as the owners of municipality and therefore entitled to transparent and accountable governance. The reason into yoba ndithethe oko awujonga ngendlela ekuqhutywe ngayo apha kwathengiswa yonke le mihlaba nakulo sikuyo ngoku i-item. Ewe ikhona i-public participation yenziwe, but andikayifili uba yi-public participation because mna isenzeka ngale ndlela into yoba kuthiwa ngoku give councillor and iyothetha ne-ward committees, but i-reality into yokuba as kusenzeka loo nto siyabethakala kwimeko into yokuba ii-facilities kamasipala sikwazi ukuzisebenzisa amaholo uqinisekisa into yokuba xa iziswa kuthi uqinisekisa into yokuba abantu bathatha inxaxheba ngezi spaces. So on this item, ndiyafuna ukuthi if by public participation yenziwe ngendlela, I'm not in a little drug. Ikhona i-councillor ekhoyo phaa. But ngale ndlela ibisenziwe ngayo, I hope abantu bonke bayayazi ukuba kunale tengiso yale portion ethengiswayo kumasipala kuba kukho lo mntu ufake esi sicelo because iyabahlala.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mukuntu. You're not objecting to the item, you're raising the issue around public participation. And on point 11, it indicates that such a process will follow where the board council and board committee will have an opportunity in terms of the inputs. Councillor Mukuntu, we are noting your request because every time you deal with a litigation, you advocate in this council for adequate participation, public participation, which we are noting council work. Say that's it. Okay. So Councillor Mukuntu, you're not objecting to the item, you're really giving your inputs in terms of the public participation process, which speaks to point 11 of the recommendations.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I was just giving my input because I'm still not satisfied with the public participation. Even if you are saying the public participation will give you invite the ward committee to be part of this, but there's no proper planning of supporting what they if let's say example, they need to call people in the ward to be part to know about this open space, but the ward will be not available. You will need to pay more money to use that ward.
Thank you, Councillor, Municipal Manager, taking note of the information. There's no counter proposal or objection to the item. We then move to item 8241 on the agenda, which is the elimination of a portion of public open space, the remainder of 2015, situated adjacent to 2032, number 16, SNO Avenue in Acton Bos, Martins Noga Family Trust. That is the item before us, and we have our recommendations listed to council from points 1 to 16. Can I have a proposal, please?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I propose the item as ward councillor, taking note of both point 13 and 14 regarding public participation as according to legislation, and in addition also the ward councillor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ward Councillor.
Madam Speaker, and second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Baron. Is there any questions of clarity from any councillor with reference to the item? No, and no counter proposal. It is noted the item then carries unanimously. We are then on item E242. The elimination of a portion of the remainder of 2001 situated on the eastern side of the existing development of 11567 Rainbows Heights Lifestyle Village in Heidelberg, social contribution by the Rotary Village Trust. We have the item and the recommendations that are listed in front of us from point 1 to 13. Do we have a proposal for item E242?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I propose.
Thank you very much, Councillor Delamain. Do we have a seconder for Councillor Delamain?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Panamaya. Is there any questions of clarity on the item of the counter proposal? I see the light of Councillor House, Councillor Baron, and Councillor Puntu in that order. You may proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. I note that the item is actually only just about changing the agreement that will be happening between Rotary and Benevolent Park, and then it will no longer be, decisions won't be made via management through the board, but through a committee. I'm going to abstain on this item simply because from the very beginning, the manner in which this item has been pushed through council has, in my opinion, not given councillors enough opportunity. We were promised presentations on the development and so on. This land was alienated to the Rotary Trust without any tender process. It was alienated to them directly. And I note that in this item, we once again mention that a report will be required to be made to this municipality. I can't remember now if it was on a 6-monthly basis or something like that. But the fact of the matter is, Speaker, we several times in this council, when we make these kind of agreements, we ask that reports be submitted to council and then we never see them again. Whether they get admitted to the administration and it doesn't come to us, I'm not certain of. But I know, for example, the Mossel Golf Course, their agreement with this municipality states that they will present a report annually, and I've never seen one in all the time that I've been here, even though I've asked. Thank you, Speaker. So ACDP abstains on the item. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor House. Noting your comments and that the ACDP is abstaining. Councillor Baron.
Thank you, comment from my side. Freedom Plus is that normally I will not agree with this, but after I've listened to the outcry of Benevolent Park, the people is in a crisis. And that place has no, what do you call it? There's no maintenance of that building. they still have this business on their roofs that make their own people sick. All I want to know, who will make sure that this social contribution agreement and it actually happen? Because normally people say and it don't happen. So somebody must make sure that these people come to their social agreement. And this is even that is the main thing. There's one last thing that I want to say about the neighborhood. The people there that stay there, they earn government grant 1,800. Then they pay 1,200 to stay there. Then they left with nothing. So let people need help. Please, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bakun. Yes, there is indeed an outcry, and the once beautiful organization is unfortunately falling apart. Councillor Kuntu, your light was on.
Yeah, I was born and I was born.
Oh, you don't want to speak. All right, you covered. Thank you very much. We then don't have any counter proposal, but the inputs and comments made by the ACP is noted, and we then report as such that Councillor House is abstaining on this item. Thank you very much, councillors. We are then on item P243, which is the progress report on the land claims lodged by the Stockenstroom Uniting Reformed Church, the Primusheim tenant community, in respect of the remainder of portion 6 of the farm Mossel number 38. We have our recommendations listed for this item at points 1 to 5. Can I have a proposal, please?
As the word council, I propose.
Thank you, Ward Councillor Donovan Clarkson. Do we have a seconder for the Ward Councillor?
Yes, Speaker, I would like to second the proposal.
Thank you very much, Executive Deputy Mayor. Is there any questions of clarity on the item? Yes, Councillor Buddha.
I see the 2.5 million. Yeah, I see it. Settlement. I want just to know what was the gist of the story before they come to this. What was happening? It's interesting. The land claim, because I was on my way to claim for the land.
Thank you very much, Councillor Buddha. Were you on your way to claim for this land? Other land, so you want clarity. That's just on a lighter note, councillors and members of public who are listening. Municipal Manager, Councillor Buddha is asking what this item is about. The gist around the settlement as per the recommendations before us. Thank you, Emmy.
Yeah. Speaker, I'm just going to start. I'm going to ask Mr. Prince to give more information. This item is to come and to report to council for the land. There's nothing we can do about it. And I think the important thing is about the division of the lands that going to be used for restitution, that the Commissioner of Land Restitution will use to compensate the people, Councillor Buddha. And I think what we are asking here is that council give delegated powers to the municipal manager to do a negotiation regarding the division of the land that was go for execution. Mr. Prince, maybe it's for a very long history.
Thank you, Municipal Manager, Mr. Prince. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. I think the municipal manager has covered the essence. I just want to add perhaps that it was a dispute over the land claims, which could not have been settled, and it was referred to the Land Claims Court of South Africa by the Regional Land Claims Commissioner of Western Cape, and this was the outcome. We've been involved. I see a previous council resolution dated back from 2009, so this has come a long way.
Thank you very much. And this is the court order and the outcome thereof, which before Councillor Buddha, you covered. Is there any other questions or counter proposal to what we have in front of us? See no lights. Thank you, councillors. The item then carries unanimously. We are then on item P244, the proposed alienation of 20,739 Mossel Bay, situated at Alma Park, Mossel Bay, by means of a tender process. This item was also before the council, public participation was done, and the recommendation is for us from points 1 to 9. Can I have a proposal, please?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will propose that they take recommendations for nine items.
For the councillor, the proposal, thank you, all the lady writers. Do you have a seconder? Thank you very much, Councillor Setusha, for seconding. Is there any questions of clarity on the item or any counter proposal? Yes, Councillor Tuntu.
No, it's not a counter proposal. Madam Speaker, I've said the initiative is very good in regarding with that area. But I would also love to see this initiative in regarding with human settlement. Because ever since I was here, the priorities here was to unlit land. And when they unlit land, I don't see that what to call I don't know in English, but there's no andiboni intshisakala malunga kwicala le-human settlement ukuhlaliswa kwabantu izinyanga kubeni. But I was not looking the word interest. There's another word that I was looking. But the reality is that ever since I was in this council, I've noticed there's land that will be always alienated. But we must remember as a council that we have a duty that we need to run, to run, to do it in such a way. We know that we all coming from the bad history. And that in bad history that leads other communities. Yeah, that's the word that I was looking for.
You're welcome. Passion, thank you.
So if this councillor can just, because when we start the opening of this councillor, the first speech from the mayor, he did allude that he will be a mayor for everyone and will make sure that the communities that are disadvantaged are taken care of. But if you notice now, we have a lot of people that are still stay in the informal settlement, stay in the backyard dwellers. In my area, I have number of things that are paining me. In my area, in Asla, those houses are too small. I'm raising these things because this councillor, I was reminded by the constitution that this councillor is where the councillor must raise the aspiration of the community. So why I'm raising these things? I'm raising because I live that life, the painful life in my area. When people have tents of sleeping because the space that are given by the government is too small. So if you have those things end up being
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Kontu, can you please speak to the agenda item? You said you're welcome. You're not against, but you're speaking on the issue around the concern of why you feel council should not be, which I understand. So I'm just asking you the please conclude for us, please.
Yeah, I was trying to guide this council that even if they allocate this land, but they must also be same passionate on the other side of the human settlement. I'm still on the point because the reality here is that we do have a constitution. I've quoted something here saying the human settlement planning is part of the IDP, integrated development planning. Then when you check this item that we have, I won't go long, but when you check these items that we have, even in this IDP that we have, people they've been always raising one thing: we need land. Even if you won't build us, please give land just to have a space to stay.
Thank you, Councillor Kuntu. Your inputs are noted. You're not against this item and you're not making a proposal. Either. Thank you, Councillor Budaya. I proceed.
This land is 21st community, and then this land is proposed for the rehab and is proposed for the counseling center, orphanage shelter, and the youth center. We are not support.
Thank you very much. This alienation correctly so in the Alma Park area, which will now go out on tender process, is for the proposal of a rehabilitation and counseling center, orphanage center, shelter, youth center, or any equivalent. And this is then what council is approving. There's no objection or counter proposal, and all comments made are noted. Thank you very much. The item carries unanimously. We are on item P245, the alienation of 4534 Hartenbos, situated at Mandela Street, Zoonscape Valley, by means of the tender process. We have our recommendations listed in front of us from points 1 to 10 for approval. Can I please have a proposal, Mr. Department?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. At the Ward Council, I will propose.
The Ward Councillor is proposing. Do we have a seconder for the Ward Councillor? Madam Speaker, you. Thank you very much, Councillor Kannemeyer, for seconding. Is there any questions of clarity or counter proposal to this item? I see no lights. Councillor Kuntu.
No, Speaker, I won't be against this one. There's the White Council in that area, and I believe there was a public participation that was done also, and the people in that area, they know what will be happening in that area.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kuntu. The item then carries unanimously. We are on item P246 of the agenda, the approval of renting out commercial outdoor advertising space for billboards in Mossel Bay on municipal property. Our recommendations in front of us for approval are listed from points 1 to 18. Can I have a proposal, please?
I will tell you, propose speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Donovan Clarkson. Is there a second for Councillor Clarkson?
Yes, you have, Madam Speaker.
Thank
I
you.
second it.
Thank you very much, Alderman Boyson. We then have a proposal and a seconder. Is there any questions of clarity or counter proposal on the item? I see the light of Councillor Post. You may proceed.
Speaker, I only want to comment on the fact that we're going to be charging an application fee of 700 rand, or the advertising fee of 700 rand beside the board, but that there's also an approval fee of 500 rand. And I would recommend that council rather waive that, because we keep on speaking about lessening red tape for people to do business in our town, and then we institute tariffs like this that are actually, in my opinion, not really contributing to assisting them to do ease of business, because it's prohibitive when it comes to cost. Could we consider removing that as a requirement?
Councillor Post is speaking to point 15, I believe.
Point 11. No, you're right, point 15.
correct. Thank you. So it's the fee of 700 rand and then an approval fee of 500, which then amounts to 1.2 in total. That's a proposal to Councillor Hodge. Do you have a second for your proposal? Thank you very much for seconding. Is there any other input from any other councillor? Okay, we then have the proposal for approval by Councillor Klassen. And then there's a proposal by Councillor Hose, Councillor Klassen, for that council will consider to waive 500 as per point 15. Councillor Hose does have a seconder. Yes, Councillor Baron.
Speaker, I would like to see a little more, like maybe something from the administration side on this point because it's important.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Baron. But I just want the DA to note that there is a proposal, an amendment to your proposal, please. Just to note, because we will now proceed in terms of two proposals in front of us that we have to do. Please note that DA. Director Finkel. Thank you. You may proceed, Director.
Thank you, Speaker. I think I don't have exact terms now. I don't know it by heart, but when you introduce a fee, when the council decides on a fee, it should be put in at least, administration effort, if I can put it in simple terms. Then you introduce a fee as it costs the municipality something to do something. It can either be salaries, it can be broken down into vehicles, fuel, whatever the case might be. Maybe somebody put, I think, the CFO can make the explanation on that. So when this recommendation, when decided on the proposal as in front of council, council should note that it's one process to submit your application with the administrative duties to follow up to a certain point. But once it's approved, in terms of your elder advertising bylaw, then quite a significant effort is put into the successful candidate to make sure that whatever goes up is in line. We often visit the sites, for instance, with a candidate, there's lots of paperwork that is involved there and so on. Therefore, the intention of once the application is approved, there is an additional fee payable.
Thank you very much for your insight. CFO, would you like to add to what Director Finkel has said? You covered everything. Thank you. Executive Mayor.
Speaker, thank you. Yeah, I think we also, it's on a first come, first served basis. The whole idea of the billboards, the arguments in council was that we're wasting money. The whole idea of creating this billboards is to earn money, to generate extra income. I can also mention that some of the privately owned billboards next to the same road pays 23,000 rand a month. So I don't think this is, I think it's fair to charge this cost.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. We then have two proposals. Councillor Host was requesting to waive the 500 rand as per point 15, and then the approval by Councillor Donovan as is. Then I ask for those in favour of the proposal by Councillor Host to please indicate so by the show of hands. 1, 2. Thank you very much. All those in favour of the proposal by Councillor Klassen, by the show of hands, please. Just get the right of you. $23. Can I just get the position from? No, 20. Yeah. Okay, let's do over again. We have the total number for the support of the proposal by Councillor Post. All those in favour of the proposal of Councillor Claassen by the show of hands, please. Councillor, tell us please. Is it 21 or 22?
21. 21.
The position of the ANC is the ANC abstaining. The ANC is abstaining, and then we have 21 in favour of the proposal by Councillor Claassen. Thank you very much, councillors. We then resolve as per the outcome.
Madam Speaker,
We've concluded with the item. Thank you very much.
no, with respect, I'm not in the item. If you count, how many of you are the client and how many of
18 plus 3, 21.
Councillor Pukato also.
18 plus 3. 18 plus 3.
Thank you very much, colleagues. We then resolve item E246. We are on item E247, the policy review and allocation of business park opportunities. We have our recommendation in front of us that council adopts the amended policy for the allocation of business park opportunities. Can I have a proposal, Mrs. Please?
Madam Speaker, I would like to refer this item back in light of item E239 stroke 10 earlier as well, so that that policy can be reworked to be more inclusive and so that we can see that existing entrepreneurs does have the right to make use of the different facilities. So in light of reworking of that specific policy, we would like to refer it back.
Thank you, Councillor Kutsia. Do I have a second for Councillor Kutsia to invite that?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I will second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kutsia. Yes, Councillor Kutsia.
I was unlike I was supposed to jump earlier.
You wanted to say
I want to say my friend.
Thank you very much, Councillor. I think that item is referred back. We are on item E248 on the agenda, the annual water services audit report for the financial year 2021/22. And now to Councillor Bula, your wish to go to the party. We have a proposal for item E248. Thank you, Councillor Galamain. Do I have a seconder for Councillor Galamain? Thank you very much, Councillor Bavuma. For seconding, the council taking note of the water audit report. Is there any question of you from the councillor? Councillor Post, you may proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, just quickly working through the report, I'd like to just ask if you look at the authorised bill consumption or billed consumption, and you look at your lost water and your parent losses and your real losses, it amounts to over 2 million cubic meters of water that were lost. And if you look at it as a percentage of the actual water, then we're looking not just at, if you look at the authorized consumption, it's almost making up 25% of the water that we are providing that seems to be going on losses. If I look at it like that, if I look at the report like that, but when I look further in the report and you look at the percentage of the water that's been billed and the percentage of water that was unrecovered, that percentage drops to 12%. So I'm not really, I'm just the director Naidu is nodding as if that is closer to what the actual truth is. So I think I'd maybe just visit in his office to take a look at that report. And then I do want to commend this municipality on the quality of water that we provide, the potable water that we provide, and that all of it except for the bucket toilets, where we're looking at sewerage, that all of it is at a minimum standard or above. The other thing that I did note with concern, though, is that there is, I think it was a 35% failure rate, sample failure rate, which has increased from a 25% failure rate in the previous year. And the other thing that I wanted to ask is that, or noticed, was that despite the fact that it seems like when it comes to the indigent water provided, we've moved down from 49, we've moved from 49,125 to 40,118. And despite the value increasing because of the tariff increases, the value in rands is still less. So I'm wondering how that is possible if consumption is increased, but revenue went down because despite the tariff increases. Unless I'm maybe not reading the report correctly. So if I can just clarify, Director, I see consumption has increased, but the revenue that's come in from that consumption has gone down, and that's despite the fact that we had tariff increase.
Thank you very much, Councillor House. If you can just give the line, Director Naidu.
Thank you, Speaker. Okay, as far as the loss is concerned, there's a new formula that's now in terms of the MSCOA requirements. They also account for water that's still in the system. In other words, water that is in your reservoirs, in your pipelines, all of that. That is why it's come down from about 20% to around 12%. Okay. The decrease in consumption, rand value, maybe finance have got an answer, but I think there's now been an increase in the number of indigents the previous year. Okay. And then the increase in sample failure rates, we just doing more sampling. Increase the sampling.
Thank you very much, Superman, for your responses. That was very adequate, and we all understand the Council House. You comfortable there? Thank you very much. If there's no other questions of clarity, then of course, Mr. Naidu has given us sufficient overview in terms of what the report speaks to. And so then takes note thereof. Yes, Councillor Campbell, we're almost there. I've got to make sure, of course, with this thing of cost containment and looking at me as if you want that sandwiches now, which I can't give you. I'm just kidding. Item 8249, councillors, registration of a permanent servitude over urban 1357 2690 21293 to 21935 Mossel in favor of Mossel by municipality in order to link guarantee with play. That's the item in front of us with the recommendations from point 1 to 3. Do we have a proposal in this regard?
Yes, Madam Speaker, Councillor Leon van Dijk will propose.
Thank you very much, Councillor van Dijk. Do we have a seconder for Councillor van Dijk?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will second it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Delamain. Is there any questions of clarity from any councillor? Yes, Councillor House.
Speaker, the ACDP is not opposed. I just want to ask, part of the property is municipal land, and the other is vested property. Can I just get clarity on that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Municipal Manager, will it be Director Venter or Mr. Prince? Mr. Prince, are you able to respond? Thank you very much.
This is mostly small pieces of land, councillor, that previously was the property of someone else and now vested within council. So what happened is, let's say, for instance, X, the owner is Mr. X or X company, and it should have been transferred to the municipality, but it hasn't. But in fact, it should have been our property. It's not transferred. The reason for that is the cost of transferring. It's out of small pieces of land like that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prince, for clarity provided. I don't see any lights for any other questions of clarity. Councillor Bose is not opposed. This item that carries unanimously. Thank you very much, councillors. We are on item E250, the amendments to the vehicle replacement plan for the years 2023 and 2024. Can I have a proposal in this regard?
Madam Speaker, you do. And while I'm at the microphone, I'll just want to be asked to be excused. I've got a meeting at 1, which is quite important for Mossel Bay in terms of the nerve centre.
Thank you very much, Councillor. One minute to this item, you may be excused. You then proposing approval to have a seconder for Councillor Van Dijk.
Second, Speaker.
Executive Mayor seconding the item that cognizance be taken of the amended vehicle replacement plan for the year 2023 and 2024. You may be excused for the part. Councillor, is there any questions of clarity from any councillor? Any counter proposal? I see no indication as such. The item that carries unanimously. Councillor Van Dijk, you are then excused and it is minuted as such that Councillor Van Dijk is leaving. We are then Municipal Manager at item E251. These performance evaluations and bonuses for directors, and at this item, all interested parties need to excuse themselves.
Even Superman.
Yeah, absolutely. We have then our acting directors who are sitting. Thank you very much, councillors. We have then item E251 in front of us with the outcome of the evaluations done for our directors and the bonuses payable thereof. The recommendations we have for 1, 2.2. Can I have a proposal, Mr. Carter, please?
Speaker, I propose gladly, and I'd like to use the opportunity to thank our directors, despite it being in their absence. At every committee meeting, we are KPI reports, and the performance of our directors are well knowledgeable in our council. They've been performing excellently and exceptionally well compared to the rest of South Africa. And I think that this is money due to them. It's an appreciation for the work.
Thank you very much, our portfolio chairperson of corporate services. Housing with that input. Right? Do we have a seconder for Councillor Leroux? Do we have a seconder? Thank you very much, Councillor Jalabay. Is there any councillor who has a question of clarity or Councillor Fox, you may proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. I think I'd like to concur with the chairperson that we are very blessed in Mossel Bay with the standard of work that we receive from our directorates, and that they take responsibility at all hours of the day and over weekends and so on to see that our town is served at the very best that is possible. So I'd like to just express that appreciation and acknowledge them for that. Speaker, then, as regards the actual performance evaluation, I'd like to just ask, I noticed that there was a ward committee member, to form part of the evaluating team. And I wanted to know, how are people then like that? How are they requested? How do they form part of that evaluating team? Do they need to have specific, like I'm asking, is it a his or her, not sure, her qualifications for the task? How was he or she selected? Thank you. And then also, as regards to the report again, financial implications could be costed and given to us in the report. Once again, it is not. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Fox. Your inputs are made. I acknowledge the vote of thanks and in reference to the financial information that's not indicated. But then with reference to your question around the ward committee, so on the panel, Mr. Burns or Executive Mayor, response in terms of how the oversight committee is being identified and how was this ward committee member being part of that process. Mr. Burns?
Madam Speaker, without going into the details with regard to specific names, but the whole performance process is prescribed by legislation at the point of something. I think, if I can make a proposal as to the details, I think the question should be directed to them. I think you will be in a better position to provide you an answer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burns. Councillor House, we will then do an inquiry in terms of the ward committee member and a selection thereof. You comfortable that we do as such? Yes. We will do that. Thank you very much. I see no other lights and no indication that anybody is objecting to this item, and it is well noted that our directors and their departments are doing sterling work for this town. Bless. The item thus carries unanimously, and the and directors can please come back to the council. Thank you. Councillor Meyer is excused for the bathroom and item third. Councillor Gallanine is also excused for the bathroom. We need, will is the Indian and the others? Councillor Gallanine, on your way out, can you please answer that if you want to continue with the yes, we acknowledge the mayor is also the bathroom. No,
Yeah,
okay, fine. Good. very much, councillors. Executive Mayor, we will be convening the council meeting, and all councillors are back at their seats. We are on item E252, the schedule of official meeting date for 2023. Can I please have a proposal at this point? Thank you, Councillor Setunja. Do we have a second?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I would like to second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Porter. We then have our meeting dates for next year. Councillor Porter, I see your light.
As long we are going to have the rules of trade, no problem. But go there to schedule official meeting. National office cut-off dates item of the Department of Corporate Service. I want us to make sure next year when I put my item here just before to run the corporate, I'm not putting the item for an emotion. I'm not putting an emotion. I make the item to be discussed here. I'm not going to put an isolated thing for Joyce Love. I'm going to put for the greater Mossel. They're going to put it's acceptable.
Thank you very much, Councillor Buddha. Yes, the motion you raise in council, if you wishes. But if you in writing want some council item to form part of the agenda, then we shall through that process where you write to admin. Thank you very much. There's no objection. Just all pray that God will keep us, and we will make it to 2023. And therefore that schedule is then as such. We are on item E253, closing of offices during December 2022 for year-end function, and we have the recommendations from points 1 to 4. Can I have a proposal in this regard, please?
Thank you, Speaker. I want to propose the item E253 with the amendments from the recommendation point number 1, which reads as follows. That the closing of offices on the 2nd of December 2022 for the year-end function be accepted by the council. Now, in front of the offices, we add a 1 o'clock so that the staff cannot think that they've got a whole day. Yeah, the off day for the whole day. At least they must have a half day. So that day starts at 1 o'clock. Thank you very much.
And that the public also knows, yes, that from 1 o'clock, unfortunately, our offices will be closed because we're giving opportunity to our well-deserving staff to actually function. Thank you very much, Councillor Tabu. Proposing to have a seconder with that amendment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will second with the amendment of Councillor.
Thank you very much, Elder Lady Reiter. Is there any objections to this item or questions, counter proposal? None, the item carries unanimously. We will then have our offices closed by 1 o'clock on the 2nd of December for all our staff to have the year. Thank you very much. We then on item E254, the request to put up posters free of charge against lamp poles by Pinnacle Arts and Culture Association, and we have our recommendations listed 1, 2, 3 on page 207. Can I have a proposal, please?
Madam Speaker, I propose.
Thank you, Councillor LaRue. Do I have a second for Councillor LaRue?
Madam Speaker, I second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kutsina. Is there any question of clarity or any counter proposal to this item? No indication, the item carries through. Yes, Councillor Mpuntu, your light is on, you may proceed.
I also association, Art and Culture Association. So I just want to know if I also want to request the posters and the can I also do the thing?
You are the order now, Councillor Mpuntu. It's a conflict of interest, as you well aware, we have to contact the But we're noting that you've got an association. Please invite us to one of your events. Thank you, Councillor Kuntu. That item then carries unanimously without any objection. Councillors, I'm now gonna deal with the item item CGI in the open council meeting before we move to the last item that will be in committee. Municipal manager is the acting appointment and payment of acting allowance for director, section 56 appointments when acting as municipal manager. We now have the excusing himself and the directors. Unfortunately, the CFO must he can gladly stay with us. That is on a lighter note here. I'm just pulling his leg. We have then all interest parties excused from this item, and the item is in the open council meeting for approval, and the recommendations is in front of us, listed from points 1. Yeah, just 1. 6.1.6. Can I have a proposal in this regard, please?
Madam Speaker, I propose, but I would like to make a proviso that we change recommendation 2 to read that it be noted that Mr. Perrin and Mr. Naidu acted during the period as from the 1st of April 21, and that a separate item with regard to their acting will be referred to Council for consideration. Effectively, this is that we want to deal with the policy now and not with the remuneration.
Thank you very much. And then there will be an item then back to council for consideration. We have a proposal for approval with the amendment as read by Councillor Leroux. Do we have a seconder for Councillor Leroux with the addition?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I will second for Councillor Leroux.
Thank you very much, Councillor Porter. Is there any councillor who have a question of clarity on the item or counter proposal now, or just wishes to ask any question of clarity? Councillor House, I see you're liking to proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. I unfortunately can't find that item now in front of me, but if the Chair could just provide, so are you asking that we now simply in principle approve that such a payment be made? Because to the best of my knowledge, we normally have when somebody acts in a position that they receive that remuneration as acting. If I could just get clarity on that, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. So are we just approving the idea of it now? That's what I want to know.
Thank you very much for your question. I'm going to ask that Mr. Engelbrecht, who's the acting director for corporate services and who is presenting this item to council, to please just give insight in terms of the question of council. Mr. Engelbrecht.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Currently, all the permanent staff, as I referred to, who are permanently appointed in a T level, the acting allowances is actually been included in a collective agreement. So for section 56 appointments, directors and municipal managers, that is nowhere included even in the upper limits or the senior regulations. So that is why the advice from Salva that each municipality must take the decision and have a principle if the director is acting in the office.
Thank you very much for your clarity provided, Councillor House. Councillor Porter, you may proceed.
Yeah, I think it's just pay somebody in a position as a funded. So for that period, that is acting. It must be
Thank you very much, Councillor Porter. I see no any other lights for questions of clarity in the council proposal. The item with the amendment as proposed by Councillor Leroux then carried unanimously. We are then now over to the closed session. The municipal manager directors can please join. Thank you very much, councillors. We've concluded our open council meeting. And I wish to thank our interpreter for services rendered this morning. Thank you very much for now. Joined us online and you, as always, did a sterling job. To the members of the public, thank you for joining our October Council meeting. God bless you. We will now move into committee. Councillor Tapula,
you.